Hello friends, today we start with the topic number 1, reproduction in lower and higher plant. Now what is mean by the reproduction? Reproduction is the production of young ones like a parent. Okay? It is the process in which the production of young ones like a parent. Reproduction is an essential process as it is lead to the continuation of species as well as to maintain the continuity of life. Each organism has its own particular method of reproduction. All these organisms shows the reproduction. Every organism has different method of reproduction. These methods are generally falls into two categories, that is the asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So today we start with sexual reproduction in plants. Now what is mean by sexual reproduction? The sexual reproduction is the formation of new plants through the fusion of male and female gametes. In asexual reproduction, there is no requirement of male and female gamete, but in case of sexual reproduction, there is the requirement of male and female gamete for the formation of new plant. Okay. Now, in case of the plants, the reproduction is carried out by the flowering plants. The flowers are the reproductive organs of the plant. When the plant completes its vegetative phase and when the flowering takes place, the reproductive phase is start. When in case of the plant, when there is a flowering takes place, then from that stage, in case of the plant, the reproductive stage is start. In the flowers, there are the reproductive organ, okay, from which the new plant is produced. Okay. The flowers are of two types, that is the complete flower and incomplete flower. The complete flower is also called as a bisexual flower and incomplete flower is called as a unisexual flower. Complete flower contain both male and female gametes, so the flower is called as a bisexual flower. Okay, and have all the four parts. जसं आपण फ्लावर्स मध्ये जे मेन फोर पार्ट्स आहे, that is the sepal, petals, stamens, pistils. These are the four parts are present in a complete flower. In case of incomplete flower, it contain either male or female reproductive cell. म्हणजे त्याच्यामध्ये फक्त एकतर मेल रिप्रोडक्टिव्ह ऑर्गन असेल किंवा female reproductive organ असेल. In that condition, the flower is called as a incomplete flower and have only three parts. त्याच्यामध्ये फक्त तीन parts असतात, that is the sepals, petals and stamens or pistil. म्हणजे stamen किंवा pistil या दोन्हीपैकी फक्त एक पार्ट असतो. कंप्लीट फ्लावरचं एक्झाम्पल जे आहे ते म्हणजे हिबिस्कस. आपण जर हिबिस्कसचं फ्लावर किंवा सायट्रसचं फ्लावर घेतलं तर त्याच्यामध्ये आपल्याला दोन्ही मेल अँड फिमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव्ह ऑर्गन्स जे आहेत ते आपल्याला त्याच्यामध्ये दिसतील. बट इन केस ऑफ इनकम्प्लीट फ्लावर द एक्झाम्पल इज अ पपया और कॉर्न इन विच वी डज नॉट फाइंड both the two male and female gametes. One flower may contain the male flower and one flower may be a female flower. So it is called as a incomplete flower. Now we see the structure of flower. It is the organ for sexual reproduction. In case of plant, the sexual reproduction takes place in the flower. It has a sepals, petals, stamens and the carpels. As we study in the 11th, the structure of the flowering plant, in that we study all the parts of flower, but just we take the revision here, as we know the flower has a four parts, that is the sepals, petals, stamens and the carpel. Here in this diagram This green part is called as a sepals. The colored part is called as a petals. So, okay, sepals. Okay, then these are the petals. Then next is the stamens and the carpel. This part is called as a stamen. This part is called as a stamen, and this complete green part is called as a carpel. Okay, stamen, it's represent as a male reproductive organ, and this part, that is the carpel, represent the female reproductive organ. In case of stamen, there are two parts, that is the anther. This part is called as the anther. Then second is the filament. This stalk is called as a filament. In case of carpel, there are the three parts. The upper flat part is called as stigma. This tubular part is called as a style, and the basal part is called as a ovary. In that ovary, there are the ovules are present. This is the structure of the flower. Okay. Now we see the structure of stamen or the structure of anther. Okay. Stamen, it is a male reproductive organ. Here we see the flower, and these are the stamens. Okay, these are the stamens. Okay, the male, it is a male reproductive organ. It is also called as a androecium. त्याला स्टॅमेन सुद्धा म्हटलं जातं किंवा androecium सुद्धा म्हटलं जातं. ठीक आहे. Now it is also called as a androecium. A stamen is made up of two parts, that is the anther and the filament. The globular part is called as the anther, and this stalk-like structure is called as a filament. Now we see the next part, that is the anther. Okay, the anther, this is the upper part, is expanded lobular part is called a structure is at the end of the filament is called as a anther. Now what is the function of the anther? Function of anther is to produce the pollen, that is the male sex cell. Okay, anther मध्ये काय तयार होतात? Male sex cells तयार होतात. The next part of the anther is a filament. Next part is the filament. Okay, it is a stalk which is gives support to the anther or hold the anther. That part is called as a filament. This is about the stamen. We show the two parts, that is the anther and the filament. Now we see the structure of the anther. Okay, anther, it is the part of the stamen in which the pollen grains are produced. Okay, the anthers are bilobed. Anthers हे कसे असतात? मोस्टली कसे असतात? They are bilobed असतात. Bilobed means what? So we see the structure, that is the tears. Okay, there is a section of the anther, and in that anther we see the two lobes. This is one lobe, this is the another lobe. Therefore this structure is called as a bilobe, and as it is a bilobe, that is called as a diathecus. Then there is a longitudinal groove is present. If we see the center, there is a longitudinal groove is present. That groove is called as a connective. त्याला काय म्हटलं जातं? Connective असं म्हटलं जातं. Then it is having the four side. That is, we see if the anther, then there are the four sides. This is the first, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth. Okay, therefore it is a tetragonal in nature. Then in each lobe there are two मायक्रोस्पोरेंजिया. जर आपण आता समजा हा एक लोब आहे, हा एक लोब आहे, या दोन लोब्समध्ये जर आपण बघितलं तर तिथं काय असणार आहे? मायक्रोस्पोरेंजिया असणार आहेत. इन दॅट मायक्रोस्पोरेंजिया देअर इज प्रोड्यूस द मायक्रोस्पोर. ॲज in each lobe there are the two microsporangia. There are the four microsporangia. Okay, there are the four microsporangia or four pollen sacs are present in anther. Therefore it is called as a tetrasporogenate. Now we see how the pollen grains are produced in the anther. Before going to the production of the anther, we have to know about the structure of the anther. This is the tears of anther. The tears of anther shows the different parts. Okay, this is the outer layer, that is called as epidermis. Inside the epidermis there is another layer is present. If we see in this, the layer which is present below the epidermis, that is called as a endotacium. Inside the endotacium there is the 2 to 3 layers. जर आपण हा एरिया जर बघितला, ग्रीन पार्ट जो आहे तो आपण जर बघितला तर त्याला काय म्हटलं जातं, मिडल लेयर म्हटलं जातं. Inside the middle layer there is the another part that is some orange color part. That part is called as a tapetum, and inside the tapetum there are the sporogenous tissues are present, and here is a longitudinal groove that is called as a connective is present. This is the TS of the anther. If we take the section of the anther, then we get this structure under the microscope. Now we study the every part of the anther, TS of anther, in the next video. Thank you.